Welcome to the Pulse Neighbors. I'm here today with Manzil. How are you doing today, man?
Very good, Julius. Thank you, and honored to be on your podcast. Thank you for having me here.
I'm glad you were able to get here. I know you're having a busy day. You said you were filming other podcasts today too, and you had a closing. It's a busy life of a real estate agent, man.
That's right.
Busy life.
And hello, everyone, by the way, all your viewers and listeners. I don't like being introduced as a realtor anymore these days. I go to a lot of parties, a lot of other gatherings, my sphere of influence. They ask me for a business card, and I tell them, hey, before you read that card, because it says realtor, but I tell them I'm a wealth builder.
Okay.
Right? And what that means is, yes, you can have a lot of realtors. You can have a lot of people guide you on the process of buying a house and then living happily. But not every realtor is an investor. Not every realtor has the mindset of showing you what equity analysis or cash flow analysis looks like. Not every realtor will guide you on financial independence and retire early, the FIRE principle, and tell you, hey, there is a way that you can actually quit your 9-to-5 job and start being your own boss and build a lot of passive income. Those are certain metrics and factors that I work on. So I call myself a wealth builder. And then they ask me, what do you do? Then I say I'm a realtor, but investor-based realtor.
Yeah. I like that you kind of gave yourself your own title, because it gets confusing sometimes. You were just talking about Remington Ramsey, and he hosts the masterclass, and he makes it like very apparent that if you're a vendor, you cannot come to those events for free. Like, people pay a lot of money to be there. It's not okay. So I never talk about property management while I'm there, but I go as an agent. But then conversations, I don't know, should I talk about? I'm a property manager, so it fits in there every once in a while. Remington, I just talked about you about actually becoming a sponsor someday. So hopefully we don't have any bad feelings about that.
He's a great guy, good friend of mine. So yes,
I'm excited. He went to, I don't think they knew each other very well, but he and Tyler went to Olivet at the same time. That's how they've got that connection. And then he has that bar over there. It's a great place. I've gone there just like for dinner before and made connections. Everybody not everybody, but a good population of the high producing real estate agents know that as a real estate bar. So go there and get to drink by yourself. You can have a good conversation. You're doing flips. You're an agent yourself. How can another agent even like work with you to help you if you have your values already and you have all the tools you need?
That's a good question. I think part of the leadership for any leader is also to empower and enrich other people.
Yeah.
It's not just about looking inwards and what's in it for me. Obviously, that's the ulterior motive for any business. I'm not running a charity.
Yeah.
But at the same time, enriching people, because my main focus now is just 3 words that I wonder about, and that's quality of life.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is it's not materialistic goals. I know nice cars, good money from the flips, building a brokerage, doing more flips, property management, all that's good. But where is that quality of life, right?
Yep.
So if I need to build that quality of life, I also need to build an ecosystem with my teams, with the same empowerment, with the same tools, with the same processes, access to all the resources that I have, and the same trainings, so that while I'm gone and enjoying my quality of life, and gone as in I only like to work 6-7 months a year these days. I take 4-5 months worth of vacations throughout the year.
Yeah.
So when I'm gone on vacations and I'm not accessible, I want the business to still run on autopilot. So all the more beneficial for us that we empower and enrich those people and still drive value.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's vital for you to get that off time. Like, the average person's gonna be like, oh my God, you're just sitting on the beach all the time. It's like, you work hard. You need that off time to be able to reset. And I'm sure as you're somebody that's kind of at the top and a leader, like, it's not always off time. You're probably thinking about your business growth and the connections you need to make.
Yes, I cannot tell you how much my wife despises me taking a laptop to the beach and my iPad on the side, and I'm still hustling and working in Cancun. But that's apart. It's still change of weather, change of environment, change of water. It helps relax you a little bit. But again, someone asked me recently, they said, what's your goal, right? And then I started thinking, and this came by design, because I could have said, hey, grow my business by X percentage so much, or do more flips and gain so much money, or buy a Lamborghini. I have a Tesla right now, and then there's no end. But all this ends up being very materialistic goals, in my opinion. I think to tangibilize my goal, like I said, so I told them quality of life. Your standard of living is something that you can increase with your materialistic goals. Julius can be a great realtor. Julius can be the best realtor in the state of Indiana, but you'll only increase your money and standard of life. You'll wear better clothes, better food, better cars, better houses. but is the quality of life still there, or are you hustling 40 hours in a week or 80 hours in a 40-hour week, right?
Yeah.
Or are you still doing the same amount of wealth building by just working 10 hours a week and spending the rest with your family and doing things that you like doing? Could be faith-based, could be recreation, could be family, could be with your dad, could be growing hair, do whatever, right? Whatever passion drives you. But that quality of life to me is more important than materialistic goals.
I 100% agree with that. I've been starting to try to focus on that quality of life thing. It's hard when you're just getting started because it feels like you need to go in every which direction. But the past month, I've been sitting down and just at the end of the day, like, was I satisfied with the day? How can I make my day better tomorrow? What changes do I need to make in my daily routine? And I made a couple of them last week. The eclipse was what did it for me. It just set it off. I just was in a really good spot, kind of mental state wise after the eclipse. I'm doing like a alternative carnivore diet, but basically the past few days all I've eaten is steak and eggs, and that took my mental state from here to here just in 3 days just by only eating protein. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I never thought that Joe Rogan was for real when he was saying that, but it was fast and like my stomach started to feel it was like a cleaning or
a cleanse, yeah.
Yeah, it was a protein cleanse.
Yep. Whatever works for your body, yes. And it clears up your mind as well. You can think clearly, you can sleep well. It just helps.
Yeah, I know you're interested in fitness as well. How do you keep your body fit? You got to keep your body fit to keep your mind fit?
That's a wrong question to ask. That's one thing I'm not good at, actually.
Okay.
So I do indulge in a healthy diet these days. For the last 2 years, I've given up meat, actually. I'm on a plant-based whole food diet, and I've given up alcohol. So yes, every now and then you'll cheat and stuff like that, but I don't go to a lot of parties. I do go to a lot of events and parties, but I don't get drunk.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm not getting wasted and stuff. Plus, the body can't handle that much.
Yeah.
But finding the time for that routine and discipline, I think that's very important. Feeding your body and the spiritual mind and the intellectual mind and the physical mind early in the morning, waking up and following that routine. I try doing some of that.
Yep.
But I don't go to the gym much and don't exercise much these days. I'm starting another new business, and I think that's taking a lot of our time and energy.
Yeah, I understand that. It was kind of when I just hired 2 people, and that's when my routine started to kick in gears. Like, I got employees, like I got to get up and give them work to do, or else this isn't going to work. So it's kind of nice. It forces you to get on the computer and do what you need to do every single day.
That's true.
So you talked about the FIRE movement. I know before we got on the pod today, you said the main thing you wanted to talk about was transitioning from that corporate life into being a business owner. What was it that you did before real estate? How did it make you feel? And then we'll elaborate from there.
Sure, thank you. So my background, I'm a computer science engineer. I also then went on and did my master's in business administration, that's MBA, with the sales and marketing focus. Joined right out of college. I was hired by a company called IBM Global Services, one of the largest IT companies in the world, in their sales and consulting division. So they brought me from India to Manhattan, New York. And then there was no looking back. I worked in the corporate world with several other Fortune 50, Fortune 25 companies as a senior executive. The money was phenomenal. I can even tell you that it was very high-paying salaries and jobs, right? However, what that does is when you work for these corporations, they consume you. They own you, right? The boss can call you at 4 in the morning, boss can call you at 10 at night, and you got to be available, you got to be accountable.
Yep.
If you're not, then you risk losing jobs or the income potential. We went through 2 babies. Obviously, we have 2 babies and 2 pregnancies, and when my wife was pregnant with both of them, and one's 11 now and the other one's 9, boy and a girl, when we were pregnant with both of them, I was never home, right? Because I was traveling in Japan, I was in Canada, I was selling, and I was making money for my bosses, right?
Yep.
And we're talking $1 million for them, millions of dollars. But then that's where a realization sets in. You call it regret, you call it remorse, you call it looking inwards, whatever you want to call it. But a realization dawned upon me saying, I'm working my ass off, I'm hustling so many hours, but really it's helping me build a standard of living, not the quality of life, right? We can drive better cars, we are building better houses, money is pouring in, bank balance is growing, but only the standard of living is improving. I'm not there for my family, then there's no quality of life. Who am I doing it for? That's when I think the realization set in that being your own boss, becoming an entrepreneur may be the right way. So I can set my own schedule and other stuff. So I think that planted the seed in my head.
Yeah, I tell a lot of people, because I still got some friends that are in school or friends that are just recently out of school or struggling to find a job. And I don't try to shove it down their throats that they need to start a business, but I always make it known that, like, hey, if you're struggling in the 9-to-5 world and trying to get a W-2, like, find whatever skills you have and utilize those, leverage them, and build a company based off of that.
Now, let me be conservative and flip the coin a little bit and just share my opinion on that too. Some people may agree, some may disagree, to each his own. I also feel that when you're right out of school and college and you have a decent degree, if you do, and the resources and the ecosystem, it is not a bad idea to go join a corporation and get a job.
Okay.
Some of these bigger companies that I mentioned I worked with, or some of your friends may have opportunities, they offer a plethora of training resources. They offer a sense of organizational hierarchy. They offer a sense of culture where one learns how to adapt and work in a team. Because you may have just worked all by yourself in a college in an assignment and never probably have done teamwork together with a group of 40 diverse people from different regions, different countries, different ethnicities. And I'm talking global corporations. They bring people from China, India, Philippines, United States, UK, and you get an opportunity to mingle with them, learn cultures, and do a lot. But the point I'm making is, I think for a young person starting out his or her career, it may not be a bad idea to hop onto some of these big corporations. I call them the Titanic ship, right?
Yeah.
They are the big ships. They have all the resources. They have all the opportunities. Get on board, be the top performer, be the star rock star. The only challenge with that is 5 years, 10 years later, you need to know when to call it off and jump off the Titanic and run your own small boat.
Yeah.
And that's where entrepreneurship and running, like you said, you tell your friends. I think that's where it comes because of two reasons it's helpful. One, you've learned a lot on the Titanic, right? And you have so many resources you've learned. It's time to be accountable and test yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever you've learned, go apply it on your own business. It's a small boat. It's not a Titanic yet, but you'll see how it works.
Yeah.
Secondly, even if you're a rock star on this Titanic, I was with IBM, I was a top performer making good bonuses. I didn't know how the company was moving overall strategically because of my individual performances. Freaking 350,000 employees, which is bigger than the population of some European countries for that matter, right? But I don't know what I am doing is impacting the overall organization, pushing the Titanic ship forward, tilting it sideways or moving it backwards.
You felt more so like a passenger on a cruise ship than a crew of a boat.
You're a small needle in the haystack kind of thing. Yeah, you got it. You're a passenger. Now I'm the captain of my own ship, right? And now if I fail, God forbid, I know why I failed.
Yeah.
I can tangibilize, I can write down the reasons why I failed. If I succeed, which I try to, and I think we've been good at it, we know the reasons for that recipe for success. And we document everything. We drive the processes that we learned here, and then we start training and building teams. Yeah. So that's my advice to like your friends as well. You said, they come out of college. It doesn't hurt to get a job first also.
It definitely doesn't hurt. And you're still going to have free time most of the time. Unless you're an auditor or, I don't know, 70
Different
hours.
trades, yeah.
Keep your balance even if you're working in a corporation. I think that's pretty important. I've always been a big proponent of learning from your mistakes. Being the captain of your own boat, those mistakes stick with you a little bit harder. Are there any in particular any mistakes that you've built up into pillars of your ethics, your business?
With time and age, of course, I'm 42, I'm not that old, but I'm not 20 years old either. So I think with a little more age and experience, you get wiser, and you ought to get wiser. I have different businesses that I run, and I can cite some examples from there. One of the mistakes on the flipping side, when I first started flipping about 9 years ago, the first mistake was acquired a property. And then because you're young and active and you think I can do it all, I can look at YouTube videos, I can look at those HGTV shows and try to knock it all out myself. And I started trying to do that first, only to realize very quickly that flip, which would regularly take 2 weeks or 3 weeks, would now take 6 months because I'm trying to learn plumbing first, then how to hang a drywall and this and that. So lesson for anyone, anything that's not worth your time and your skill set and that takes more time away or not worth making dollars or not contributing as much to the value of the end product, it's better to outsource always. So we've built on that. We've built teams around us now. I don't even go and put a light bulb anymore in any flips. I'm only the acquisitions guy and I oversee my projects. But we have crews to take care of that. On the soft skill side and people management side, again, some lessons from the corporate world. I was blessed. I was from that background. But even if you're not, that's okay. Learn to behave in teams, learn to build in teams, and learn to respect the client's wants and needs, but not letting the client also rile all over you and ride over you at the same time, and maintaining your self-esteem and doing your business with integrity. Some of those are lessons we've learned over the years.
That's one of the things I'm looking forward to with how things are going to change on July 1st. I'm going to actually make not a scope of work, but have my clients know like exactly what services I'm looking to provide, so that scope creep doesn't happen as often.
True.
One of the biggest changes that I'm going to make to my personal business, and this could still change in between that time, but taking on less clients at a higher quality. I've learned that the clients that are going to stick with you for a couple of deals, those relationships are going to be, one, more fun, and two, you're going to make more money together.
True. Quality over quantity. Yeah.
It takes a lot of time. Something I've majorly underestimated with like meeting people in real estate. It takes a lot of time to get them under contract the first time, because there's a lot of efficiencies you have to learn with each other to make sure you're both comfortable. Buying real estate's a big deal. I've had maybe one instance where I've bought real estate with somebody I met that week. Otherwise, it's somebody that I've known for a month or two.
Agreed.
At least.
Agreed. And I personally feel with the new NAR lawsuit and the impact, the ramification would be, as we all know, the buyers, if you're representing buyers, they'd be responsible for compensating their side of the agent, while the listing side would compensate only their side of agent. What that also entails is, if you have a healthy mix of buyer deals first in your regular deals, let's say you do 100 in a year, just saying, if you have 70 or 80% of those representing buy sides and less of the listings, you'll also see some of those buyers go away or that volume of business diminish. And that's across the board for everyone, I'm saying, including me, you, everyone. You'll just see some of that go away because it'll get more competitive, and buyers will become more demanding because they're already paying for a high capital purchase for a house, and now they've got to pile up a fee and pay you as well. And then the questions will definitely come in terms of what value are you adding? What are you going to do after the sale? What are you going to do before the sale, during the process? So just be prepared for a little more rigorous competition there as well. And then it'll just come out to who charges them the least amount of fee as well. So you can go in and tell them, I'll still take 3% of the deal. Someone comes in and says, I'll do for 1.5%, and then you're out.
Yeah.
So I personally feel the brokerage side of things, at least for me, that's one of my businesses. I'm a team lead for Indiana for my real estate villa. I have 22 agents on my team in the state of Indiana, but I think that overall brokerage revenue is going to shrink for everyone, just because a lot of business will go out elsewhere and everywhere to whoever is competitive.
Yeah.
At the same time, I feel our property management business, I am a property manager too. We have over 570 doors we manage. I am a flipper as well. We do a decent volume.
Yeah.
I feel with whatever's going out in the market macroeconomically, inflationary trends, election year this year, and a lot of uncertainty and volatility, I think foreclosures are bound to rise later this fall. It's going to be a very critical year to watch because interest rates are not coming down soon, and we know that. Mm-hmm. So people will just probably give up and stop paying their mortgages and walk out of houses, and we'll see our foreclosure side build up more and the flipping side more. So brokerage earnings, just commission earnings, probably go down. Flipping business go up.
Have you said that modestly? You have a decent number of flips. Manzil's, he's got more than a couple of flips under his belt. But
we did about 35 last year.
As a decent flipper, how have the past 2 years been? Because as an agent who has a couple clients that are looking for flips, it seems impossible most of the time. Is it really just the foreclosure properties that are helping, or what other avenues?
So two things very quickly. One is the metrics that any investor attaches himself or herself to. The metrics have to be flexible.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is we can go into a house in Fountain Square at Bates Hendricks and we can say, I'll cut it down, I'll do so much, and I definitely have to make $100,000 on the downside when I sell it, right? What if you don't? Plus, let's say you do, but it takes you 6 months to rehab that property, another 2 months to sell it. Now you're 8 months out and you've made $100,000. Good job, but 8 months out, right? Yeah. We, by design, chose not to do that. I am not attached to properties built in World War II or those times. We only buy 1960 or newer. We tend to. and we try to buy in the vinyl villages. And what that does for us is the most we get hit by is a roof change, HVAC furnaces change, kitchen remodel, bathroom remodel, but we can turn those things around within a month or so, right?
Yep.
On an average. And if we can do 8 of those in the same time span and average about 50 to 55,000 profits on each flip, I've done more than what that one guy did in Fountain Square in 8 months, right? So first point is be flexible on your metrics. Don't get hung up on the profits and the returns. A lot of people ask me, hey, when you do a flip, what's your average return that you want definitely from the... I said, there's no definite. You give me 15,000 out of that flip, I'll still take it because I want to do volumes, right? I can make 95,000 out of a flip or 15, but I'll take both happily, right? That's one. Number two, it all comes down to if you break the whole process of real estate into 4 steps. The first step is lead generation, lead gen. Second is actually acquiring an acquisition. Third is the rehabbing of the property because it needs work. And the fourth I call is capitalization, right? You either sell or you buy and hold, the Burr methodology, whatever. That's capitalizing on the property. Anyone who owns the leads, anyone who knows where to find the right deals is the one who becomes the king at the fag end on step number 4.
I get you.
You rely on wholesalers all the time. We do as well. You go to sheriff sales and auctions where everyone's pushing the price upwards. We do that as well. But relatively, I've seen a trend where a lot of these deals make less profit because we were not the origination point on the lead.
Yeah.
I was not the one knocking doors. Traditionally, we've made more money where our own sister affiliate at Villa, we have a company called Carrington Mortgage Services, which is one of the largest loan servicing companies in the country.
Okay.
And we are in multiple states. They end up getting a lot of REO or foreclosure properties. And if they give those leads to us and we present them to our investors, I've seen the maximum volume of profit or spread come out of those because we own the lead. Those leads don't go to an FC Tucker or at properties agent or anyone there. That's our own bank, in-house leads to our agents.
Okay.
So long story short, I think so profit, flexibility, adaptation, and secondly, owning the lead. Be creative ways on where to find those properties.
Okay. Okay, this is a very...
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I have a very specific question, and I can't give you... No, okay. It's on capital. I've got a client that owns a duplex there. Next to it is a vacant property immediately to the right, and then across the street is another vacant property.
Okay.
Today, I'm trying to do my reverse prospecting. I find out who owns the property. They have an LLC out of Avon. There's no phone number. There's no email. Try to look up their phone number. Can't find it. What would your advice be? I want this property. I want to buy this property. What do I do to get the property?
Good question. There's success ratio in such circumstances is very poor. I'll tell you that. But perseverance definitely helps. So you're only talking of one. I would encourage and challenge someone like you to do 100 of these, right? And then even if you get 5% returns out of that, you got 5 deals just by sending 100 postcards. So send out postcards. You have the mailing address for the LLC on public records. If you don't have a physical phone number, there are softwares and tools out there that you can pay for subscriptions. And I think if the registered entity has a phone number plugged in, you can find out who that person is and find their phone numbers as well. Social media is another tool. You can search them on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. Try to connect there. If it's individuals, you can link it up to. But I think most investors, what they do is the passive letter writing and postcards and saying, I'm an investor and I want to get in touch with you and stuff. There have been people who have been successful doing that as well. But I would just do that. If there was a structure built there, not a vacant piece of land, you could write a letter and stick it in their door as well and leave it there and have them call you back. Sometimes people do return calls.
Yeah.
Ask neighbors sometimes when you're around, and sometimes neighbors know who the owner was if they've lived around there and not just an investment arm. Sometimes neighbors can be good resources too.
The good resource for me was the mailman. He was out delivering mail, and I was going to check up on the tenant. There was an issue, and I just stopped and talked to him for 5 minutes, and he gave me the scoop on the block.
Yeah. You'll get some market intelligence there for sure. Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, he actually enjoyed talking to me too. It was fun. Interesting job.
And then you give him your business card, and you say, whenever you're ready to buy a house, Mr. Mailman, you call me, and they will.
Yeah, I always carry business cards. Yeah, I saw an old teacher at a coffee shop 2 days ago, and I gave him a business card.
No, always. There is a reason you're building your own brand, right? So whether you're a budding realtor, you're a budding entrepreneur, whether you sell insurance, whether you sell mortgage services, whatever you do, the business cards are built for a reason to represent you as a brand and to put you in their subconscious mind for a long time to come, right? You don't know where that business card goes in. Eventually, when you give it to them, it could hang up, go in a drawer, which they end up cleaning next spring.
You're good.
That's mine, sorry.
You're good.
And which they end up cleaning next spring, right? And they come across your business card at the right time and they still give you a call 6 months later. So I think sharing those cards is important. And I was telling someone this morning only, if you do take business cards, then make sure to follow up as well. They're not meant to be thrown into our drawers and forgotten. Mm-hmm. Usually it's a good practice when you meet someone at an event, meet someone at a restaurant or wherever, take exchange numbers, business cards within 24 hours before you sleep or they sleep, go tap into them again and say, hey, nice meeting you. And this is my number if there's anything I can do for you, or let's grab coffee another day.
Yeah.
And I think it just takes one of those or three of those taps to get into their subconscious mind. And then one fine morning they stretch and they wake up and they say, let's talk real estate, and they'll call Julius, right?
Yeah. So. Yeah. That's a good idea. I know it's vitally important just to have the mental space. It is real estate. It's mental real estate, and it grows a little bit. It appreciates the more that you tap in and follow up with them and connect. I have a question for you on politics. Not really. I've just recently started going to Zionsville Town Council meetings, and I am loving it. I actually ran into one of the lawyers that was presenting last week at lunch today. It's interesting. But I'm having a meeting with a government official next week and trying to get into understanding how Zionsville is growing. I live there, so I think it's going to be valuable for me. Do you get involved in politics whatsoever? First question. Or do you follow what they put out, at least?
So nationally, I do. Internationally, I do. Local levels, not that much. It's not really politics, but the meetings you're referring to, the town council planning commission meetings. Mm-hmm. I think as an investor in your own pocket and territory, it's important to know what development's coming where. Mm-hmm. And that those are just public meetings, public hearing, public notices that they publish. So I think it's good. I live in Fishers. So I do go to a lot of those.
You do.
And I think it's a good practice to just go, not just from a networking perspective, but just from learning on how your city is growing, what plans coming where. Because suddenly an investor comes down from California and they say, hey, what's the best area? What's coming here? What's coming there? And you need to be right on your toes, or very actively telling them that you know what's happening in your town, at least your town. Mm-hmm. Surrounding towns, you're in Zionsville, so you can know much about Carmel, Whitestown, Brownsburg, whatever, but you're in that pocket. So I think it's a good practice to go to those meetings and know what's coming, both industrial, commercial, or residential.
I was wondering if that was something that you did. I felt like it was something that you would partake in.
Always helps. But again, whether there are this party candidates or that party candidates in the city council, really, you don't have to get involved. It's not our bread and butter. So
no, it was funny. I guess I'm a Democrat, if you want to label stuff. But I went up to talk to one of the members afterwards. And then I have a friend from high school whose mother is on the town council, and she goes, sorry if I'm outing you, but she goes, you can talk to Republicans too. I was like, I didn't even know he was a Democrat. So I'm just going to talk to him. But it was funny.
And that's another thing, as a business owner, as a brand that you're creating, it's sometimes not prudent to be tagged with one side.
Yeah.
I love sitting on the fence. I have my opinion. I know who I like, but without disclosing, I go to all the meetings. I support the right wing, the left wing, and everyone, but we are business owners. We are not politicians.
Yeah. I think that's a good position. Everybody wants to label somebody, so I'll give somebody a label to put on me. I don't care. But I say the same with like religion. I'm not. Yeah. I'm agnostic, and I treat politics the same way. I go to a Christian church, but I'm not Christian. It's how I connect spiritually.
Yeah. I call that too. I call it being secular, not agnostic. So I still believe in God. I believe in that one Lord, but it could be Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, it doesn't matter. We follow every faith and we believe in all of them.
Would you mind answering a couple questions on faith real quick?
Yeah, of course.
You're a little older and more mature in your life. Was there a moment in time where you came up with that? Because a lot of people are not as open as being secular or agnostic and open-minded to other cultures. What did it for you?
So I think it really, to me, I feel strongly it comes down to your family. How you were raised, and the moral values and the virtues that your mom and dad have given into you. I came from a very not so orthodox family in India. We are very contemporary, very forward-looking. My mom's a retired school principal. My dad was a business owner. My brother is a well-educated executive in India. Now he does his own commercial real estate in North India. But as a family overall, our faith on paper, whenever we fill out some forms, we used to say Hindu, and we are Hindu. but we've always been raised, being taught to respect other religions. I went to a Catholic school myself, all my 11 years, kindergarten to 10th grade, high school basically. So everything was a Christian school, St. Stephen's. The first very nice friend I had who I wanted to date was a Christian girl as well. I've been to Hindu temples, Muslim mosques. I go to Catholic churches, Protestant churches. We go everywhere, wherever we have friends. So just I think that sense of feeling that my God exists and your God exists, but they're all at the end one single supernatural power, and respect for each other that ways. I think that's what all of us need to learn. Oh. And I may disagree with you on certain things. I may agree with you on certain things, but as long as faith is not involved in those discussions, I think it keeps it very clean. Yeah, I agree. It's funny, we had a kind of similar experience. It was a girl that I was dating that was Muslim, and that's kind of how it opened it up. Because I was super Christian before then, but I didn't know about other religions or anything, and it opens up your... what I like about the United States too, and I'm an immigrant, right? So I came from India. India and US are very similar. So in terms of cultures, in terms of democracies, in terms of... India is the largest democracy in the world. US is the oldest democracy in the world. We have a big group of secular... We are a secular nation. So is the United States. We respect and preach and follow any kind of faith, right? But what I like about US more also is because of the diversity that we enjoy in the Western Hemisphere. There's people from so many countries, so many faiths. And I didn't grow up with a lot of kids from other countries in school in India, but my kids here grow up with other kids too. Yeah. They have Asian, they have Europeans, they have Americans, Latinos, everyone, right? I just see the sense of respect and the learning that American kids and American people have here is much more diverse and much more respected than any other part of the world. That's a great take. I have a lot of respect for the system in this country for that reason. That's awesome. Man. Whatever you hear on news, I don't believe in all that. I think it's overrated for some political gains sometimes. But the amount of respect this country has and the openness this country has to welcome everyone else with open arms, provided you come through proper channels, provided you respect other religions, and whatever you do the correct way and follow the law, I think this is the most respectful place to be in. I agree. I think we do kind of doom and gloom the U.S. quite a lot, but that's unfortunate. If you're gonna open up the perspective, it's not that bad. It's not. It's actually good, really. But they want to, whatever. Did I answer your question on faith, or you have more? Really, I can talk more. That was really my main question on it. I just think it's something people don't like to talk about a lot. But then again, like real estate agents, I don't remember the statistic, but a good percentage of people get their leads from their faith. From your local churches, temples, yes. That's not what made me start going back to church, but it pushed me in the door, and I've gone back ever since for the right reasons, of course. Good. But let's find another question. I got a whole bunch of them here, but I don't need to ask all these. Most of them are about investing, but I think we can do part 2 and part 3 as well. Nah, man. Oh, I always love having people back on. But, all right. I don't want to talk about like investing in real estate, like on the numbers sides. Like I don't want to go into a deal or anything, but I am curious about your general thoughts on Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. You've been successful. You have the opportunity to go to whatever market you want to, yet you're still here. Mm-hmm. Is Indianapolis the only market you invest? Me personally, yes. Okay. Right now. Okay. Well, you're the perfect guy to answer this. What's so great about Indianapolis? So this is just my opinion based on my reading and my belief that every investor forms a belief and then they work according to that, right? But it's all based on intelligence that you've gathered over the years and data that we've gathered. If you look at the United States overall, California, New York, even parts of Chicago, East Coast, West Coast, and some bigger cities, very volatile, right? At the same time, very expensive. Since I became a realtor a few years ago, and since you've become a realtor, and we jumped into this sphere, this vertical new life, you and I have not seen a downfall or a recession, really, right? Like the 2007 and 8 crash. Since then, since I became a realtor or investor for that matter, I've only seen California and New York and all those prices go up. But then I started reading, hey, where is the most lucrative pocket and market to invest? So certain cities sprout up when you look deeper and peel the onion. So Denver, Colorado, Atlanta, Georgia, Charlotte, San Antonio, Texas, Austin, Texas, Cincinnati, Ohio, Indianapolis, Indiana. However, over the last 5-8 years, what has also changed is a lot of corporations and investments went into Denver which sparked a huge inflationary trend into Denver, and it's very difficult to find good deals there now. It's expensive. Same thing with Charlotte, one of the biggest IT capitals after Silicon Valley. A lot of companies. Austin, everyone said keep Austin weird. It's a college town. It's a party town. It's this and that. There was nothing really in Austin until what happened? Elon Musk goes and says, I'll pull out of California and I'll go into Texas and I'll go into Austin and set up my headquarters. Amazon set some warehouses. What did that do? Inflation, or basically raise real estate prices altogether. So what I'm trying to get to is there's very few cities, in my opinion, that are down, including Indianapolis, that are still one of the most undervalued and most lucrative to find the right deals. And I think that price pivot has still not been attained here, despite Carmel, Zionsville, and these pockets being relatively more expensive. I think we are yet to see a raise where in the next couple of years or 3 years, we'll see a very big inflationary trend come and everything will be more expensive than what it is. So advice for what that means for us really is, if you're an investor with some liquid resources, cash or banks by your side or hard money lenders, whatever, keep buying that you can even today. And I think the best is yet to come.
I agree, man. I've had a couple of conversations with investors recently that are caught in the doom of the recession. Isn't that like a 2-year-old thing that people have been talking about?
Yeah.
Where is it? Where is it at?
So recession technically has a definition. Any country that goes through GDP growth, that's the gross domestic product nationally, if there are 2 consecutive quarters, which is 6 months in total, 1 quarter is 3 months, 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth, then a country goes into recession. We've not seen a recession, I think, in the last few years in the United States. I may be wrong, we can double check, but we've not seen one.
I think it depends what measures you look at.
Yes.
Some people will tell you there has, and some not. So.
Yeah, some people said we almost touched it and the chart went red and all that stuff I've heard, and I read a lot on that too. But at the end of the day, you have to look at your local market, analyze it very well. I don't think the Midwest, including Indianapolis, has ever had that impact in terms of that. And we are not as volatile as California, New York, and all that too. So relatively safer locations, find your pockets, invest there, buy at the right price. Of course, don't overpay. But then I think the best is yet to come, like I said. Yeah. There's flipping opportunities, there's buy and hold opportunities, there's multifamily. Only thing I see slowing down here is big office buildings in downtown or elsewhere. And I'm talking multi-story buildings where big corporations were leasing out. Because of COVID, a lot of their employee and workforce now works from home. Those corporations are probably struggling to keep up with the leasing and and also the builders who built all those buildings are being called, the mortgage companies are calling their notes due because of the interest rates and stuff like that. But apart from that, flex office spaces, multifamily apartments in good cities, Bloomington, Purdue, wherever you go, single family, multifamily, apart from that, duplexes, triplexes in our pockets here, I think they're all doing phenomenal.
I agree. There's nothing wrong with real estate here in Indianapolis. I'm curious to see what happens to all these office spaces, though. I will commend Indianapolis on its ingenuity at times to, what is the word? Reallocate? It's not the word. When you use a space, you change the use of it, whatever that word is. I feel like Indianapolis has done a decent job at in some points, so I'm curious. There's
site use variance.
Yeah, I guess. But there's, what's the one? It's over there in Brookside. It's got the fouling place on it. Like, that place was supposed to be like this really cool industrial business complex. Never happened. But they have plans. So I do think we're going places. I do love the development down there. I was just looking at a deal yesterday. It was 10 properties across the street from Garfield Park, and it looked like a decent deal. But I like to follow the parks with deals like that as well. I think it'll show you kind of where development's coming into Indianapolis.
Right.
A lot of people will say that if you follow the parks, you'll be able to find where Indianapolis is trying to grow as well. And we do have tons of developments that are coming here. The additions to the hospital, there's Lilly up in Lebanon, 16 Tech. I did just hear there was, which chip manufacturer was it, pulled out of the West Lafayette thing. That sucked.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
But I also know Kokomo is getting a big EV plant as well. So there's multi-million dollars pouring in there. So, I mean, I know deals come and go, but Indianapolis is poised to see a lot of influx, especially in the information technology space as well. Like you said, Lilly, and you mentioned a couple other healthcare and diagnostics and life sciences. We are very mature. Roche Diagnostics is there, Lilly is there, Elanco is there, a bunch of other companies. I think when you amalgamate that and marry that with information technology and IT, Lebanon is opening an IT park, by the way, as well. A lot of companies, a lot of Cummins outsourcing. Cummins was opening an IT park in the Greenwood or downtown Indy area for all their IT employees. So a lot of that is coming in as well. So when you marry healthcare and IT, it leads to healthcare IT information systems, right? So there's a lot of future in that space as well. I don't think it's going to go down. It's only taking off right now.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of space in Indianapolis for businesses to come. I think that's one of the big things. By land mass, we're one of the largest cities in the U.S. That's one of the reasons I'm going to stay here. I used to have the mindset where Indianapolis was the worst place to live as like a high school and college kid. Left for a year, and then I was like, why would I want to leave? Like,
no, and you've got to remember, we also have the ecosystem. We have these universities. You can get engineers out of Purdue. You can get business school grads out of Kelley School of Business. And a lot of them can be consumed now as productive employees for employers within the state. Yeah. They don't have to necessarily go to California or Chicago for jobs, So Indianapolis offers that workforce and that ecosystem base as well to consume.
Got to shout out my alma mater, Butler University, as well.
Yeah, Butler. Sorry. That's the party college I heard, right? It
used to be. No, not anymore. No.
When I was new to the state, someone told me, hey, you want to go party and hang out with the right boys and girls? He said girls mostly. But jokes apart, he said that's the party campus you want to go to. So I've never been there, though. So.
Good. No, that is how it used to be. But the new president who came in a few years before, Danko is his name, he very anti-partying. That dude tried to get rid of Greek life at Xavier, and he was favorable for it at Butler. I think he found his relationship with it, but after that, partying didn't go. Like, it wasn't the same. Because I remember hearing tales. I would like meet alumni, and they would tell me about Pacers and Colts players coming to parties. I did one time. The Combine's always here, the NFL Combine. And I played football my first year at Butler.
Nice.
Yeah, we were throwing a football party, and then all these Alabama football players show up, and we're Butler football players, and they're twice our size. It was kind of fun.
That's good memories, huh?
Yeah, it was.
When did you graduate?
That was 2022. I graduated undergrad, and then I went.
You told me last time. Yeah. Okay.
Then went and did a year at Wake Forest. I was doing the whole environmental studies thing. I'm still very interested in urban agriculture. You will see something from me in the next, 8 months. I will be incorporating it into my business, and I'm so excited about it. That's why I got into real estate, though, was my love of nature and urban farming. I was farming at Butler 3-4 days a week pretty often, and my back and my knees had given out from football. Trying to farm my senior year, realized that, hey, I can't do this as like a job. I wouldn't have been making crazy money, but like at that point in my life, I was seeing myself as a laborer until something hit me eventually in life. But luckily, I had the realization before I had to go do that for 7 years or something. I went to business school so I could learn what finance was. I've always had an interest. My favorite board game growing up was Monopoly because I got to count the money. I'm actually wearing my Monopoly socks today.
I didn't know there was something like that. So, okay, I'll get a pair.
They're great.
I like what you're saying, and the reason is just a few minutes ago we were talking about explaining to that buyer or your sphere what value you bring going forward after the July 1st change, right? I think whoever has a niche, whoever has a differentiation strategy, especially urban farming and how you integrate that into your new development or how you can grow stuff into your penthouse and apartments or townhomes. And if you bring some kind of value there, apart from, in addition to being a realtor, I think you have a story to tell. Yeah. And that's what's going to excite your clients about you.
I'm excited about it. I'll tell you a little bit about it. I'm fine with sharing my idea. I think it's a great idea, and I'm not afraid of somebody sharing it because I don't think anybody else is going to be passionate enough about it to do it. Yeah. I'm planning to make my property management company a decentralized farm in some way or another using fruiting trees. So I'm going to offer the owners of the properties a percentage of sales from trees on their properties.
Trees on the properties.
Mm-hmm. I need to have some important meetings with people to kind of figure out how that's going to work legally. But I am confident that I'm going to be able to get through that. I've researched enough where I think if I get enough favor that the city will allow me to do that.
Wonderful. Okay, we should talk.
I'm so excited about it because I did the math. I mean, I don't remember the math off the top of my head, but it was like 10 properties or 10 trees on 10 properties. It's like owning a property. So being able to give those dividends back to my investors and them being able to help out the Indianapolis food scene, amazing. I've studied at Butler. You know the term food desert?
No.
Indianapolis is no longer rated the worst food desert in the nation, but was rated the worst food desert. I should look it up. We have a computer. But I think it's, if a grocery store is not within a 15-minute drive of you, it's a food desert. And that was like all of Indianapolis. Everybody gets their food from convenience stores or fast food. So we saw diabetes and other health-related illnesses from poor diets really spike here in Indianapolis. So that's when I got really passionate about that working with urban farms, because they do this program called SNAP. It's a government program like food stamps, but it's where they get their food subsidized, like organic food. So that food has to also like give back to the community organically and using sustainable practices and everything. But food and real estate go so hand in hand. I'm so excited for it.
Very nice. Yeah, that's impressive.
Thank you, man.
This is the first time. I think when we shared coffee last time, several months ago, you told me a little bit about it, the urban farming, but how you integrate that, this is the first time I'm hearing. So that's good.
Hopefully there comes a point where I'm actually like buying vacant land or renting it. That's a big strategy in urban farming. Indianapolis isn't very favorable for it, but cities like Cleveland or Columbus are very good for it. Like they'll let you, say the state owns a plot of land and they'll let you lease it for like $500 rather than like having to build a house on it or anything, and then you're able to operate your farm. So that might be a cool strategy for me as well. So I'll have to build out that labor force. I'm excited to have people.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Keep me posted. We'll talk offline, of course. So,
yeah, of course. We need to get you wrapped up a little bit. Let's go back a little bit to investing, and then we'll get you out here with a couple final questions. Just give me an idea of what your portfolio looks like and what keeps you motivated to keep growing it.
So I have my hands into a couple of things. When you talk about being a landlord and passive investments, I own about 41 houses, single family right now. We are getting into buying some commercial buildings as well very soon. That's me, but that's all for some generational wealth and building a legacy, right? So that's something that I've admired since I was a kid in India. You read about any politician, you read about any successful business owner, entrepreneur, in any walk of life, you'll see they have their arms and hands into real estate in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. Real estate is the best instrument to build generational wealth and at the same time enjoy some tax subsidies and strategies around that. Yep. So that excites me and has excited me. So I started buying a lot in Indianapolis when I moved here from Manhattan. First year I moved here, we got married and I bought my first house in Fishers. There was a realtor across the street. He was putting a for sale sign on another house. And I was not a realtor that time. And I just went to him. I said, hey, can I buy this one too? And then he helped me buy more. So on the same street, I bought quite a lot. In Fishers that year, I bought 8 houses. So not on the same street, but several. First, I also thought I could name it into Kohli Way or something, right? Name the whole street after me. But that didn't happen. But yeah, so that portfolio helps because that also helped me visualize my dream of, moving away from the job, because then the passive income was matching or surpassing the income from the salary. So I could make a transition easily. Okay. My favorite item to do is flipping houses. I'm very passionate about it. It's good short-term gains if you do it right. It also helps me enrich my dream. They call it the American dream, where people buy houses and stuff. But just that glimmer in the eye and, the little teary-eyed happiness, joy, whatever you want to call it, in a family that we deliver the house to, right? We are doing that for the community as well. Obviously, there's a profit behind it. But when you give the keys to a house that's very well remodeled and does not have a lot of issues, and we know we've done good work and we are giving it to a nice family, nice community member, it just satisfies you and enriches you so much and makes you happy. Yeah. So I think that's what motivates me to keep doing this again and again. Yeah. Great perspective, man. Thank you for sharing and thank you for being here today. Thank you. Before you get out of here, I ask every single person to name 3 places that they enjoy being in Indianapolis. Indianapolis? Mm-hmm. Okay. It could be food, a park, a street. It can be anything. First is my house. I love being in my house. Okay. It's the most comfortable place to be in. I do eat out a lot with my family, so we hit a lot of restaurants. I have many, I can't give you one. But then parks-wise, I just like hanging around Geist Reservoir. That's where I live, so it's very relaxing.
Yeah.
Water in general, cold weather or warm, you just walk by a water body because we don't have oceans and beaches here. But you walk by a lake or anywhere you can go, even go on a little, what do you call that, in White River, paddle boat or... kayaking, that's the word. Yeah, so I did a lot of that last summer. It's just so relaxing, just being around water, so that's what I like doing. But I don't know if I answered 3. So house and restaurants and
give me a restaurant.
That's a difficult one. No, we don't want to. I told you, sit on the fence, because a lot of these restaurant owners are my clients, and if I name one, then the other one won't be happy.
Okay, all right, I understand.
It's like that politics question.
What about? I gotta get something else out of you. What other spot can we go? Where do you get your hair cut?
There's not much to do. So I have a lady who does my hair, but it's really not much work for her because I've lost most of it. But I go to Carmel mostly. There's a private salon that I go to. But I can help you with the question. So pastime activities.
Okay.
Right. I learned poker when I moved to this country. I had never played poker in India. And I am a very avid poker player now. I go to a lot of tournaments and a lot of clubs, and I play, and I think I do a decent job these days. I'm also a very good chess player since my childhood. I was under 14 grandmaster.
Oh, sweet.
And I played very well for the state and all that stuff. So now must be a little rusty, but I still love playing chess any day. So I can play for hours and hours. But that eats into my productive business time sometimes.
I should get a chessboard and play chess before every podcast, and we brag about it.
It does help, yes.
I was chess club growing up too, but I never got good.
There's chess.com. We can play each other online too. So.
It's fun. You should stream poker and chess, man. Everybody watches that stuff.
Oh, is that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we'll try that.
It's fun. Well, thanks so much for being here, man.
Thank you so much.
See you again.
Yes, honor to be here. Thank you, Julius. Good job.